serendipitous encounters is a phrase from that song that just kind of hits me. Serendipitous encounters. And I think of Tung's story. And, you know, when I was growing up, some of you are close to my age, some of you are a little younger. I don't know if too many are much older, but I remember hearing about Vietnam as a child. It was some kind of ethereal thing out there. I remember I had a friend who had a brother that was significantly older that was drafted and went to the Vietnam War. I had no idea what that was about. And really didn't study it very much, you know, had vague, and Tung has made me want to know, what was that story? There are real people that were involved with that story, and I think that perhaps is why it's touched me, because I have a childhood memory of this Vietnam thing, and now to have a real life person in my life who I care about, and to imagine the courage that took for his parents. They had a dream for their children. They had a dream for their family, and they took whatever steps it took. I haven't lived next to the ocean. To me, it's like get in a canoe, go out to the ocean, and until you can't see the shore. To me, that is taking your life in your hands. You don't know what's out there or what's going to happen. And so I thought those parents had a dream that was worth risking everything, that it would be better to die than to not live that dream. So to me, that's significant, his story. So this past summer, I'm looking for, I think it's in here, the visual aid. This past summer, Kira went to Philmont Boy Scout Ranch. She spent the summer in New Mexico. Well, I hope I put it in here, otherwise my visual will just have to be in our brains. Here it is. And while she was there, she wanted to find a little memento for everybody that was in the family. And she, you know, this is New Mexico. Your shopping variety is whatever is in the scout shop that happens to be on the property. And so she found, you know, things here and there for the kids. And she found finally something, this is in her words, for me, and she knew it was the right thing. And it was this little book, very small little book. It's called Wade Phillips Epigrams. Wade Phillips is the name of the man who began that Boy Scout ranch. He had a dream, and he donated, I don't know how many thousands of acres of land for the Boy Scouts to create a place where young men from all over the world, particularly the United States, could come to this place and appreciate the experience of being in wilderness. And some of you that are outdoorsmen know how that is so invigorating and how that can really change your outlook in many, many ways. And so these were just the quotes that meant something to him. There were all these little quotes that I'm a quote girl. I guess you probably have that figured out because there's a book sitting in front of you, and we've been doing this for a few years. And so one of those quotes right at the back of the book, the very last page, and I am of the age that I have to take off my glasses to read sometimes. This is small print. It says, "Success is always an approximation of the ideal." It's in your book, so I'd like you to turn to your book, and we're going to look at what is written there. It's the very first quote. "Success is an approximation of the ideal." And another way to say dream would be, what's your ideal? What's your dream? What's the thing that is the best that you can think of? That's your dream. That's your ideal. So, turning the page, the question is, what is your ideal? Your ideal defines your values and your character. Are you missing your book, my dear? You are.
Yeah, I guess he didn't get one, so I just
good. No, we have plenty. There's no point to worrying about it. And then I got thinking about the fact that your ideal is an ideal. It's what you keep your eye on. That's what the deal is. That becomes your ideal. That becomes your dream and what your life becomes. So your dream is your ideal. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what that is today, and going to give you some opportunity to think about what are your ideals, what is your dream, and how can we go about fulfilling our dreams, our ideals. All right. So behind you, behind the program, on the back, you can find some paper. Go ahead and take out, I don't care if you use the line paper, I don't care if you use the white paper, but you're going to take a minute. Well, before we do that, go ahead and take a pen and pass it around, and we'll be all ready. We're going to talk about how, I'm sorry, Betty, I didn't know that. We're going to talk about what society considers ideals. So if you were, for example, to say, what's an ideal house? What would it include?
1 floor.
1 floor. Spoken like a true senior citizen. Good. What is an ideal house for you?
On the beach.
Beach. Okay.
And we're in Missouri.
We are. I don't think you can get a whole lot further away from a beach. I mean, not including Lake Jacomo. Other than maybe somewhere in Russia. I'm not sure. Possibly. What else for you? What's your ideal of a house? What would you love?
Garden.
A garden.
Screened-in porch.
Screen porch.
An outdoor kitchen
Mm.
overlooking the beach.
Now you're talking fancy. Outdoor kitchen.
Sitting on 1,000 acres of land.
Ooh, lots of land.
Close to the beach.
Close to the beach. A lot of that property has been used up lately. What else? What's your ideal for a house?
Lots of laughter.
So you're talking about a home. I'm going to differentiate, and that's the people that live there. So lots of laughter, and that's great too. You can talk about how it feels. You can talk about the physical aspect. There are lots of aspects that you can think about. Okay, so we're talking about our ideal house or home. What are other things that you spend time thinking about? Oh, that ideal. The ideal car is obviously one that we often think about for the guys. What's my ideal car? What are other things that you're like, oh, my dream job? What's my ideal job?
Relationships.
Relationships. Those kind of big ones.
Body.
Oh, my ideal body. Good. Who said
I
something?
said family.
Family, yeah. What's my ideal? What's the ideal family? And that can take on lots of different forms, right? Somebody that can't have children may have a very different ideal than somebody that can't stop having children. Any other thoughts? Well, I want to throw one out there for you since this is principle-based learning. Education. Do you think of an ideal education and what that looks like? If you have children, do you have an ideal for what an ideal education for a child is? And you could make a list of this is what would make an ideal education. Okay, so you are all at different places in your life.
I've learned more.
Yeah.
How about relationship with God?
Okay.
I usually have relationship up there, but I think it's one way to think about often.
I like that because that is, foundational, isn't it? Absolutely. So now to your paper. You need to choose something. It can be a house. It can be, my recommendation, since this is principle-based learning, if you have children that you're educating, you might want to write down what an ideal education looks like for your children or for yourself, I don't care what you do. You may be, it might be a car, it might be your job, it might be a relationship. Just, I'm gonna give you several minutes to write down. I know it's hard with right next to somebody. If it helps you to stand up and go somewhere in a corner, just take some time. This is transferable. And write down, pick one thing and write down everything you can think about. The perfect, whatever it is, looks like this, and write it down. You've got several minutes. I'm gonna give you some time to